Do hard shit. Video done. Let me explain. So I've got a wee script here, so don't be too alarmed that I keep turning to my side. I think the reason you need to do hard shit is because the reward that you get afterwards and what you learn about yourself when you do it. When you do hard stuff, like when you properly challenge yourself and you come through the other end successful, oh what a feeling. Say good. Honestly. And it's about being honest with it though. Are you actually working hard, or is it just it feels hard, but then you can't, like, I don't know about yourself, but a lot of times I'm like, oh yeah, I've done something really hard, and I look back and reflect and think that was not really that hard though, was it? It was just something that I'd done. But being able to honestly say that you've done something hard, you get this sort of pride afterwards that is genuinely like a drug. I spoke about in the video that I'd done about Hamza's principles for happiness, which I don't know if I'm uploading that one first or this one first. Either way, just watch both of them. So that drug of pride that you get, it's really, really powerful, but it's something that you need to be wary of, because when you're too proud, that's when it verges on arrogance, and people don't like arrogance. I don't like arrogance, and to be honest, a lot of times in videos I might come across as arrogant, but if you think that, you probably shouldn't be watching my videos, because you don't actually understand what I'm trying to explain. But oh my, what did I write? Yeah, it's that test of character that you get. It's almost a form of self-validation to go through something hard and come out the other end knowing that you've done it. You can actually do hard things and you can succeed. That's self-validation. You get that sort of sense of pride, like, wow, I can do things that I told myself that I can do, whereas maybe in the past you would have shied away from it and you wouldn't have tried it because it's too scary or something like that, which is obviously not great for your self-esteem, and it's hard to learn and develop that way when you don't do hard things. Pardon me. Like, pride can disillusion you. Like I spoke just now about, if you're too proud and don't know how to handle it, that's like becoming a drug addict, just because you need that sort of dopamine, because the rest of your life is not as, like, it's just not worth living. But like, well, I got a wee bit deeper than pride, but yeah, when you're too proud, then you need to have the sort of wisdom and understanding on how you should be acting when you're proud. You shouldn't, like, I'll explain better at the end of the video, but I have a wee example of a bothy trip that me and my friends went on. If you've listened, I've done a podcast with Wellbeing Wonders, me and my friend Aaron. It was it was just under a year ago, I think, that we recorded this podcast. I've cut this bit out, but for anybody who's wondering why, I just accidentally mentioned the name of the bothy, but I don't like to name the bothy because it's a very special place for me and my friends and stuff, so I almost don't want people to search it up and go find it and go ruin the place. And if we ever want to visit again, we want it to be on our own. But anyway, so we go to this bothy, we park up and we go down this path that we assume is the path to the bothy. Obviously, being naive 17, 18-year-olds, we just continue walking, and one of my friends has a drone with him. We probably walked, I want to say, like 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles. And this is probably like sort of mid-afternoon, 3-4 o'clock, on I don't know what day it was, a Saturday probably, or it might have been a Monday, to be fair. We walk a few miles and one friend has a drone, so he's like, oh, let's fly the drone up and see if we can see the bothy by now. Although we couldn't, because we knew it's like a 10-12 mile walk. We fly the drone up, and just round the mound that's in front of us there is the end of the path. Like, the path just fritters out, and like, nah, the path's supposed to be going on for like 8 miles and we've not walked 8 miles. So we start consulting the maps again and realise that we've taken, I don't know what way this is going to show up on the camera, we've taken the fork to go this way when the bothy is down this side. and it's way over here. And in between here is like 3 Corbetts, which are mountains in Scotland between 2,000 and 2,500 feet. So basically, we have 2 options. We just walk back down the path, go to the car and stay the night in the car and walk to the bothy the next day, because it's already like 4 or 5 o'clock, I think it was, dinner time. And it was summer, which was all right. So it meant we've had like another, I think it was five hours of daylight or something we had. But me and my friend Aaron, we managed to convince the other 2 that, oh no, we'll just cut across these mountains here. We just go across the mountains, we'll go that way, and then we'll drop down next to the waterfall, and then we should meet back with the path. Naturally, we had this optimism because the week before, I think it was the week before, 2 weeks before, we'd just been on a bothy trip. It's me and Aaron, there was like thunder and lightning when we were on top of one of the Munros, and we just like scrambled down the side, crossed the railroad, and then a river, and then got to the bothy. We're like, oh, we're so hard, we're the best of blokes ever, we're challenging ourselves, we're really getting it. So this, the next bothy trip, we're also like, oh, let's go across the mountains. So we do this, but it's literally like pissing it down with rain. The rain's like parallel to the ground. The wind is absolutely howling, and we're all just really unfit hiking wise, and we've got heavy bags. I've got like a waterproof cover on the back of my bag, but the wind keeps getting under it and blowing it off, and then I have to put it back on, and then like 30 meters for later it's blown off again. We have to, so everyone's just getting really annoyed. And we're literally on top of these mountains for probably like 3 hours or something, 3 or 4 hours. And we get to this bit where we need to get down the waterfall. It's kind of like, the waterfall's a wee bit down here, but it's just like a big slope, and it was just like heather. And there's, this whole time, by the way, we're not on a path or anything. And for anyone who's walked in the Highlands, breaking your own trail is disgusting, and it slows you down at least like it'll half your pace basically, with all the heather and the moss and all that sort of stuff, and rocks and uneven ground. It's not very fun to walk on. We get to the waterfall, we're sort of descending. I think it actually takes us an hour to get from like here to here on the waterfall, because it's literally like grabbing heather and like walking like with your feet like that. Basically, you can't just walk sideways because it's like on the side of a slope. We finally get to the end of it. By the way, on this bit, one of my mates like slipped and fell, and it was literally like hanging on the heather for a good few minutes, which was quite scary. And I might have let out a screech or two to call my friends back to come and see if we can help, because I was a wee bit behind him. But no, I survived that, thankfully. And we get to the path. I'm breakdown. I'm like kissing the path and stuff. We get to the path, I think it was 10 o'clock. So there was still a wee bit of light actually. So we walk another half an hour. We get to like a dam. We know we're on the right path, and the dam ends, and then it's literally just like, this is when the sun's starting to set. Like it's really dark outside. It's cloudy, but it's like that sort of late summer sort of dark navy blue skies, so you can kind of see still a wee bit. And then it's literally just bog, like peat bog, like heather, peat, puddles, very, very faint trail. Like it's one of those trails that you can see it for a wee bit and then it just completely spurs out. We basically were on there for about an hour and a half, just walking. One of our friends is miles behind. He's not had it. This is the guy who slipped down. He had like one of these massive like stoves in his bag. He had his drone, which somebody else was having to carry, and then his massive sleeping mat, which is just unbelievable. He's just completely unprepared. It was quite funny. We still roast him to this day. But basically, we walk around, and we keep like basically having to walk and then wait for him to kind of catch up a wee bit, and then walk and then walk. And he just kept like blowing his wee whistle on his bag and like flashing his torch. He's, oh guys, can we not phone mountain rescue? Which he does still get abused a lot about, because we're too proud to phone mountain rescue, you know what I mean? You know, you don't want to be that guy that has to wait in the helicopter. I was looking at these kids that couldn't manage a wee walk to a bothy. Pride and ego aside, we get to this river. One of my mates is like already crossed the river and screams like, I found the bothy, because this is like, honestly, it was pitch dark. It was about 20 to 1 in the morning, and we get to the bothy. I literally just jump in the river. It's like probably mid-thigh. I just start wading across, get to the other side. My mates, the bothy's locked. I was like, you're fucking kidding me. I just say, no, it's not. And just ram my shoulder straight into the bothy. So we get in, everyone gets there safe and stuff. We spend the next day there just pissing ourselves and then walk out normally, no issues. But we actually found out that I didn't need to shoulder the door down. There's literally a wee thread that you pull out which lifts the latch on the inside. You can just walk in. But that was probably one of our first stories of something difficult that we kind of came through. I know it was a very long-winded way of saying it, but I think it's a very important story of the lessons that I lead after, because we were proud of that for so long. And it was like, literally like 6 months later or something, we hadn't done anything really that challenging or hard since then, but we're still living off the pride of, oh, we can do this bothy trip, we can do this bothy trip. And even up until this January, when we went to Malvui bothy, I'm okay to mention that one because it's a nightmare to get to, and pretty much everyone knows it anyway. We were like, oh yeah, we've been to this other bothy, we can do this. We're like, oh, I hope it snows and it's really hard and that it's raining or it's snowing and it's like pitch black when we get to the bothy. And I'm not going to explain this story because it'll take another 20 minutes or something. I'll maybe explain it in a different video. But actually, I took a few videos on that trip which I can actually put together into a video and like maybe do a voiceover and stuff. But yeah, so we're kind of still living off that pride of doing the hard stuff and coming through it from that first bothy trip, and it literally hit us like a train when we had to actually do this stuff. Like this was probably worse than the first bothy trip, and we were still so cocky and arrogant about like, oh, we want it to be hard, because pretty much all the trips since then have been fairly uneventful and quite easy, to be honest. And I think that the lesson I'm trying to take from that is, what are you, like, the thing that you're so proud about, like when you get this feeling of pride, how long ago was it that you actually done the hard thing that you get in the pride from? Was it 2 years, or was it yesterday, or was it today? Because there's a massive difference, like, and the way you kind of, I think I wrote it here, is, yeah, when was the last time like you done this? But there's a really powerful position that you can get to, which it's been sort of the last maybe week and a half for me, where I've had really good days every day. And when you string enough days of doing hard stuff together and doing things that are uncomfortable, that your past self would be like not really keen on doing, when you can get enough of them together and you stay humble about it, you don't brag about it, you don't tell people you're better than them because you're doing all this hard shit, like you get this like superhuman power. And when I say be humble about it, I don't mean don't ever speak about it, because you should, like, people can learn from this sort of stuff. Don't be one of those arseholes that just, like, even when they're asked about it, like, oh no, it wasn't that bad, or it was that bad. Just don't over exaggerate. Tell them how it is, and don't bring it up unannounced or something unless it's like relevant to a conversation or you're making a YouTube video or something. Don't just bring it up just to be like, oh, everyone look at me, everyone appreciate me for doing the hard shit. Just be like, once you've watched a few videos of me, and obviously I have to talk about the experiences and stuff, and I have to be open and proud about it on camera and stuff, so all you're going to see from me is talking about all the hard stuff that I've done and all the difficult things I get through, and that's going to be, oh, Tristan, you're not being humble. But in a day-to-day life, I don't really speak about a lot of this stuff every week. Like, I'll speak about it on camera, and then if I'm having like a coffee with somebody and something similar comes up in conversation, of course I'm going to bring it up. It's something that, like, it can be an interesting story for someone to hear. I love hearing stories of other people doing hard shit and coming through it. So humble ran over. Like, when you get that, it's like a superpower. When you get that pride of doing good things and being productive every single day, you get that pride, and when you match that with humility, that is like a superpower that you literally, like, you're basically in the top 10 to 20% of human beings from doing that alone. Like, most people are lazy, most people don't give a fuck, so just do the hard shit. I've got one more quote actually. Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself. So it's basically, when you do hard things, that's not what makes you. It just shows you where you are. Like, it shows you what you can actually do when you need to do it, which I find is very interesting. Like, if you can't do it, reflect on that and do it next time. You learn from these experiences, but they're not what makes you. They just show you who you are. It's the wisdom that you cultivate and all the practices that you do away from the hard times, and then if you're actually able to apply them, that it shows you, that it proves to yourself that you can actually do this stuff. The last thing I want to say is just don't be like David Goggins, because there's probably people thinking, oh, he's just like that David Goggins guy, like, stay hard, do your hard shit. Fucking shut the fuck up, man. You don't need to live that hardcore, alright? You don't need to be physically like murdering yourself 20 miles of running a day. For what? For what? Do hard stuff every day, but don't put yourself through unimaginable amounts of pain just to say that you did it, just to say that you're hard. You know what I mean? I could delve deeper into it. I could make another video about David Goggins, but like, the idea of doing hard things every day, I like, but the way that he does it and the way that he makes it seem like you need to be hard, it's just toxic, man. It's just useless. You're not gonna learn from that, because nobody needs to work that hard. Yeah, do hard shit. See you next week.